everyone, it's Nicole from Life as a Law Student, and today I'm telling you the story of how I found my apartment for law school. I'm actually right now moving into that very apartment. I obviously am filming this video ahead of time, but I'm moving into my apartment on Monday, August 19th, so if you're watching this video on Monday, August 19th, you should definitely go check out my Instagram story because I'm sure I'm putting a ton of things on there about my choices for decorating my apartment, and I will absolutely be doing an apartment tour video in a couple weeks so you guys can check it out for yourself and hopefully not hate on my lack of interior decorating skills. But for today, we're gonna rewind a couple months back and figure out how in the world I scored this place. First things first, there's something that you need to know about me for the story to make sense. Your girl is an extroverted introvert. Love people, totally want to hang out with people, love talking to you guys, but do I have any desire at all to have a roommate? No. I've lived with other people my entire life up to this point. Obviously, growing up, I lived with my family. When I went to college, I had a couple real shady roommate situations and a couple great roommate situations. But even after I graduated from college, I moved back to live with my two grandmothers, who are awesome, and oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me stay with you. But now that I'm going to law school, I'm very done with living with other people. And because I wanted to live by myself, that obviously had a big influence on my budget. Thankfully, as I've mentioned before, Washington University was generous and gracious enough to extend to me a living stipend. I definitely would not be able to afford living by myself in the college town neighborhoods of St. Louis without that stipend, but because I do have the opportunity to do that, I was looking for an apartment that was going to be no more than $850 a month. Other things that I was looking for in an apartment was that it was going to be no more than 3 miles from the school. I definitely needed an ability to park my car since I will have a vehicle in St. Louis. I really wanted to make sure that there was security around the apartment building, either with cameras or a guard. I also wanted to make sure that I had access to laundry units, either for the entire apartment building or in my unit, because I do not want to lug dirty laundry around. Obviously, I need some heat and AC because St. Louis has weather. And the last thing I knew that I needed to find if I couldn't get a 9-month lease, which basically never happens, was an ability to sublet for the summer. My ideal situation was a 1-bedroom apartment so that I could separate it off and have people come over without them seeing all my junk in my bedroom. But I could definitely make a studio work, especially because at that price point and the amenities that I was looking for, it's kind of tough to find an apartment that meets all of that in St. Louis area. A lot of the ones that I found that met all of those qualifications were like $1,100 a month, and I can't do that. So let's move now to what I was actually able to find. All right, we're back. So I noticed when I finished filming the other day that the final part of the video I recorded did not upload or process correctly. I don't know what happened, but I didn't have time to refilm that section of the video. So here I am, new outfit, new day. I'm actually starting my road trip today, and hopefully we will get this video finished in time. So the recording cut off right as I was about to talk about the actual process of finding my apartment. So basically what happened was I had told Washington University the beginning of April that I would be attending that school in the fall. I started looking around online for what kind of apartments were generally available in the area surrounding Washington University, just to get an idea of what was out there and the price range that I was looking at. I was informed by one property manager that I spoke to that basically all of the apartments that had the amenities that I was looking for were already being rented out in March and April to current students who went to either St. Louis University or Washington University, and that if I waited until July or August to find a place, I'd be stuck with the bottom of the barrel. Now looking back, this is probably a biased opinion, and I do think it probably would have been fine to wait a longer knowing now what I didn't know then, but this advice really worried me because it came at a time right after my mom and I had booked and planned a trip to go to St. Louis early July to look for a place and put down a deposit. I wasn't going to have the time or finances to move that trip up, so I decided to make a list of every single property I could find that was in the general radius of the school to start figuring out if there was a place available that I could put a deposit down to start paying rent in August. Within about 24 hours, I had made a list of maybe 30 places, and my mom and I were calling down that list, and we basically got a lot of no's, a lot of answering machines, a lot of people who didn't seem to know what they were talking about. But then about halfway down the list, I called this one property manager who had posted a studio apartment about 3 miles away from the school. And I called, I asked the general questions, let her know what I was looking for. She basically told me, no, we're looking for someone to rent this in May. But just about an hour ago, I was informed by one of our residents that they would be moving out in July. It's a 1-bedroom, it hasn't been listed online yet, and it's gonna come in at $850 a month. I walked through all of the things that I was looking for with her, and this apartment checked every box. I would have in-unit laundry, all hardwood floors. It's over 700 square feet. I would have a dishwasher. I'd be close to the school with extra security measures than I had seen anywhere else, free parking, basically everything I wanted plus more for something that was in budget. And like I said earlier in this video, everything else that had checked those boxes was easily at least $300 more a month. And so to find this place before it was even listed was amazing. I talked to my mom and she was like, yes, you need to get this right now. So I called the property manager back, I put down my deposit, we signed all the papers and figured out how payment would work. And then in July, me and my mom did go on my trip and were able to visit that apartment. It was absolutely everything I was hoping it was going to be and very accurately represented by the property manager I spoke to. Overall, I couldn't be more happy with it and I'm so excited to be moving in. My advice for those of you who are looking for your very first apartment where you're living on your own or maybe living with other people is this. Don't be afraid to ask all of the questions. Ask the property manager about flooring, about water heaters, about the amenities included, if parking is free, what security measures they take, what kinds of crimes have happened on their property before. This is super important information that it's literally their job to know and to give you. So don't feel embarrassed about asking those questions, but make sure that you have all the information you need to make a good and educated decision. Also, make sure to ask the school that you're going to these types of questions as well. Where do their students typically live? How much are they typically paying per month? How far away is a reasonable distance to live from the campus for a commute? Go ahead and ask if they have any housing concierge services. I found out after the fact that my school did. They could have gone to properties for me, taken pictures, and all the stuff that I just couldn't do because I wasn't there in person, which added a lot more stress to the process than apparently was necessary. Finally, if you don't find a place right away, feel confident that there's still going to be something out there for you. People are moving all the time and new properties go on the market every single day. So don't make the mistake I did of freaking out several months ahead of time just because one person gave you probably biased information. Do your research and do be prepared, but don't settle. I was very fortunate to find this place and it was a huge answer to prayer, but my inexperience definitely could have led me to put down a deposit on a place that just wouldn't have been a comfortable home for me in this already pretty stressful time of my life. I truly hope that you found this video helpful, that you have less stress when you're looking for a place for yourself. If you've already done this before and you have more tips that you'd like to share or add on to what I've said here, please leave them in the comments below. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next Monday for our very last life as a pre-law student because I will be in law school. Woo woo. So God bless until then.